All right, everyone, welcome back. Now we have Tammy Putnam from Meadowbrook High School, and she's going to share some information about how you can use breakouts.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. I am going to go ahead and put it on screen share. And my presentation. All right, so my name is Tammy Putnam. I am going to do a presentation concerning information ideas to help you get started in creating a digital breakout. So I get asked a lot, what is a breakout? A breakout is similar to a treasure hunt or a scavenger hunt. Participants solve various clues and puzzles to discover or unlock a treasure. So why do we call it a breakout? A couple of years back, James Sanders founded a business that he called Breakout EDU. He based his design off of the escape room concept. And he created a kit, I got a copy here, that included everything you needed to participate in one of the many games that they had on their website. So now when people do a breakout, including something where you break into a box with locks, they call it a breakout. So here is a bit.ly link to a breakout that I recently created with a economics teacher here. This is in case you want to follow along and go on to it. I will be bringing it up on the screen so you don't have to go to this, but if you want to, there it is. And this is the breakout that I created with the economics teacher. We called it a budget breakout. It has various links here at the top. And at the bottom is a Google form for the digital locks that go with the game. You don't have to put the digital locks at the bottom. They can be at the top, at the side, however you want to set up your page. But this is the breakout that I created. So where do you start? Well, may seem kind of obvious, but determine your topic. You want to make sure that your topic isn't so broad that you have too much information. So the economics teacher, he wanted a breakout that his students could use to review for their WISE test that they are going to be taking. But the WISE test is so large that we needed to narrow it down. So we narrowed it down to doing just the budget part of the test. So once you narrow down your topic, next thing, what information are you going to be including? You want to narrow it down to broad skill sets or tasks that you want to cover with the breakout. In this case, one of the tasks was needs versus wants for the budget. I did a miscellaneous quiz, just miscellaneous questions for budgeting. We also did a video that gave them general information. We have vocabulary words, and then we did a budgeting exercise, and I'll go over those. But narrow down to how many topics you want to have, what information you're going to cover. Along with that, how long do you want your game to be? That also includes, you need to consider that when you're looking at your information. The length of the game will, how many tasks you have will determine the length of your game. If you're just looking for a short warm-up activity, you might want to do just like maybe 3 activities. If you want a longer game, then you may want, 4 or 5. The budget game that we did had some students take it the other day, and it took them 45 minutes. You figure each task takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. So take that into consideration when you're doing your planning. Once you have what information you're going to use, you want to get started on creating your game. This is just some general ideas here. This is definitely not everything that you can do. I like when using vocabulary words or defining terms to do word searches or crossword puzzles. I find those work very well. If you look at my breakout, I did a crossword, and I will just open that up really quick. You get the basic crossword. I used Google Sheets. As they fill in the answers, they will get a combination down here, which they will put in for their digital lock for crossword. So if we go back to our crossword, their questions are down here at the bottom. So they would answer up there, and we'll just do one of them really quick. Number 5, down, medium of exchange. The answer for that is money. And if we type it in, when they hit a block that has the information for their code, it will automatically populate down here. So when they have all their answers up there, they'll have their word, which they will put in to their digital lock on their Breakout site. So that's one that I like to use for vocabulary. People, places, events, dates, that type of a thing. A lot of times I use quizzes or sorting games or matching activities. There, again, many different things you can use. Show you another example. The needs versus wants. Anytime you use one of the Google products, you want to have the students using a copy. And so this was one that I used again in Google Sheets. They just have to put an X in the items that are a want versus a need. And when they do this, go there. All right, we're having technical difficulties. Squares pop up over here. When they have all the correct answers, it gives them a code, which again, they will put into their digital lock down here. Just another thing that you can include. And one more, I'll show you the activity that I used for the budgeting activity. We did road trips, which in Google Maps, they have to travel from Virginia to San Francisco without spending more than $1,260. So they're going to start in Virginia. It brings up a link. It gives them options, the amount of money for gas, for lodging. And there we go. To the cities. In this case, they can go from Atlanta or to Chicago, and this is the amount of money they would spend. So they're going to look at the various cities along the routes and decide which route they need to take to get to San Francisco over here. They'll take the letters from those cities and again put it into their digital lock. Just another idea for activity to use. There are so many that you could do. It's all the information that you want to present and how you want to have the students do it. Going on. Resources. These are some of the resources that we use. Definitely not all of them. Of course, we look at the Breakout EDU site. That's where we got our original idea. You can sign up for a free account. They have free games that you can look at. So if you're ever wondering what you can do, or you have an idea but you're not quite sure how to do it, a lot of times looking at another game can help you with that. Same thing with Pinterest and YouTube. Great places to look for ideas. With Pinterest, you do have to create an account. Again, it's free, but just great sources of information. I included SchoolTube on here because with the county, a lot of times you can't get a YouTube video to play, but any of the SchoolTube videos will work with any of the Google sites, so you never have to worry about that being blocked. And this last one is just, I included this. It's just a Google Doc that we update as we find useful sites. It should come up here in a minute. And any of the links will be I'll have a presentation with the video when they post all of this, so you can be able to get to all of these links. But just various things we have found that are useful when we are trying to create our breakouts. Putting everything together. We really like Google Sites. It is not the only platform that you have to use. When we first started, used Discovery Education. They had boards on there that you could put things on and use as a landing page. But now we pretty much always use Google Sites. All the Google products work really well with it. You don't end up with conflicts, things not working or loading right. I'm not going to get into actually building a Google site. Last year during Digital Learning Day, there was a very good presentation done on creating a digital breakout. And also they included a Google presentation that went even further and showed information on Google Sheets. So if you look at the slide presentation that'll go along with this, very good information there, very well done last year, so I'm not going to repeat that. Last, just things to consider when you're doing a breakout. Your breakout doesn't have to be just digital. A lot of times we do physical and digital breakout format together. We find that gets the students up and moving around and gets them very involved. Sometimes you can't have students moving around, so you have to do just digital. Works very well. There's pros and cons with all the formats. Just find out what works best for you. Another thing that we have run into a problem with sometimes when you're determining your lock combinations, we find it's better to use a mix of letters and numbers. A lot of times students, if they know you're just using words, especially if they're associated with the breakout that you're doing, they'll sit there and kind of code break the entire time and try to type in words and see if they can guess correctly instead of actually doing the activities. Another thing, definitely always test your breakout before you release it to students. It is very embarrassing, as I know from experience, that if you don't, then there will be some link that you didn't do correctly or something that doesn't work right. And then the students are like, laughing at you and whatnot. So definitely test it out. Make sure all your links work before you give it to the students. Last little bit of advice, when you're using the Google products, always make it so the students have to work off of a copy, not your original document. They tap on your original document, you never know what they're going to put on there. So always think ahead and make sure they're working off of copies. And I think that is about it for time for me. And I will turn it back over to Kelsey.
Thank you, Tammy. It's great to see you sharing all your wonderful expertise about breakouts. I know when I was over at Meadowbrook High School supporting for a little bit, I got to witness some of the breakouts that you designed, and the kids are always so excited and so engaged. And I'm glad to see that the breakouts that I saw a couple years ago have grown and you've incorporated so many more tools. It's amazing of what you're doing over there.
Well, thank you.
So next up is going to be Rebecca Ryan from Monacan High School, and playing off the breakout theme, she's going to be showing us how to use Desmos in a geometry setting with a digital breakout.